The topic of your book, it seems to have found the fountain of youth. It just will never die, will it?
You know, the title of the book, Get Trump, was not original with me. It's the campaign promise of the Attorney General of New York and the District Attorney of New York. She campaigned on the pledge, if I am elected, I will, quote, get Trump. So I named my book Get Trump as the result of that. It's beyond New York. It's a nationwide effort. It occurs in, obviously, Florida, Washington, D.C., Georgia. In my book, Get Trump, I go through every one of those cases, and I show that there is no legal basis for prosecuting Donald Trump on any of the 4 charges. Now, the weakest of all is New York, because there's a statute of limitations of 2 years for a misdemeanor, 5 years for a felony. And the only way around that statute is if you can show, and I'll quote from it, that the whereabouts of the defendant were continuously unknown. Now, everybody knew where Donald Trump was. He was in the White House. They could have easily been indicted. Or the other exception was he was continuously outside of this state. Continuously, that means he had to be outside of the state every single day. And we have photographs, we have videos of him being in New York. He could easily have been indicted, arrested, but they didn't do it because they knew they had a weak case. Now, 7 years later, they're coming after him in violation of the statute of limitations, in violation of the rule of law, because there is no crime here. All he did was sign a non-disclosure agreement and pay $130,000. What did people expect him to do? Write down on his corporate records, I paid $130,000 to a porn star in order to cover up an adulterous affair. Nobody in history has ever done that, and nobody in history has ever been prosecuted for listing something like that as a legal expense. It's just a made-up story.
Well, it seems like we live in an age now where these facts, these statutes of limitation do not matter anymore somehow. Even if they are very clearly set out in the laws, these people are still getting away with it because, facts be damned, they have an agenda to push.
Well, there's no question. Their agenda is to prevent him from running for president. It won't work. It will backfire. If he is indicted, and there's a mugshot, it will be the most famous mugshot since Frank Sinatra, and it will be put on T-shirts. It will be used as a campaign poster for Donald Trump. He will take advantage of that, and I have already gotten letters from people saying, you know, I wasn't planning to vote for Trump. I'm a Democrat or I'm a DeSantis person. I wasn't planning to vote for him, but now I have to protest what's happening to law in America, that it's being weaponized, that it's being used selectively, that if today it's used against Trump, tomorrow it can be used against a Democrat, and the day after tomorrow against your Uncle Charlie or your niece or you or me. And so we have to stand up against this.
You've long said that trials are about credibility. And in all the cases that are currently pending or ongoing against Trump right now, there's some major credibility issues in each of them. The worst of them, of course, is this Cohen case, this case that relies on Michael Cohen, the former attorney of President Trump. Does credibility matter anymore, though, Professor, if the agenda is this strong?
Well, the Bar Association rules require that no prosecutor put a witness on the stand unless they believe that witness is telling the truth. Now, can Bragg look himself in the mirror and say, I now believe Michael Cohen? He's admitted to his lawyers that he would lie to get away with going to prison. He admitted to his lawyers that Donald Trump didn't know about this, that he did this on his own. So the jury is going to be asking the question, is he lying now or was he lying then? And the answer is probably he's lying both times.
Professor Alan Dershowitz, a pleasure to discuss this.